embracing sudden change, being able to adapt and adjust. You know, football's life just sped up a lot faster, so our ability to handle midstream adjustments and to embrace those. So you can see in moving forward, we have a lot of things that we need to do to continue to improve on as a football team. I will tell you this, I'm excited in terms of, I think we have a group of young men that are hungry, they're eager, they're willing, they just need to be taught. And the 14 newcomers have added another element, they've added another dimension in all facets. From the character of our football team, to the competitive character of our football team, to the competitive spirit that they brought each and every day. They're excelling in the classroom, they're pushing each and every day, they're driven. They understand the Tennessee brand and the standard and the expectation that comes along with representing that brand. But our older players have done a great job of really embracing them and welcoming them into our family, but also holding them accountable. We will have a few individuals that will not go through spring drills, but obviously now we work towards their mental development in our schemes. With these individuals will not be going through spring practice. Dre Vols, A.J. Brennesell, Brendan Downs, Ryan Jenkins, Brian Randolph, and Tavares Salisbury. So they'll split their time in the weight room, understanding our, the fundamentals of small details, but also working on the mental aspect. So when we get them back in June and July, they're ready to go. But I'll answer any questions that you may have at this particular time.
You talk about football intelligence. How key will that component be as you evaluate quarterbacks both tomorrow and moving forward throughout spring?
Well, it's critical. The quarterback position especially is a very cerebral position. It's all about making good decisions and good choices and managing a football game. And there's so much that goes into it. Everything is about the functional intelligence. It's split-second decisions. There's leadership intangibles. When all else is going wrong, everyone's going to look to that quarterback. They're going to look in their eyes and they're going to see what type of confidence they have, not only in themselves, but the players around them. And so, we're looking for a model of consistency in performance each and every day, a great decision-making process, an individual who can get us into the right protections and can manage the entire offense, understands situational football, understands, hey, it's 3rd and 15. And if it's not there, put the ball on the check down and add 5-6 yards to the punt and help our defense. Part of playing great defense is a byproduct of not putting your defense in negative or, negative situations. And so just the overall intelligence that it comes with playing the quarterback position, but in a nutshell, it's consistency and performance from that spot.
When you put them out on the field, how will you know that they've taken the steps to be prepared in that regard very early on?
Well, we'll chart and we'll film and we'll evaluate everything. We'll evaluate how they are in team meetings. We'll evaluate how they are in the classroom. We'll evaluate how well they perform in their individual drills. Every rep, like I told them, is a valuable rep. You don't know how many reps you're going to get, so you better make sure you make the most of every single rep. Every rep is for a championship. Every single rep is to be the starting quarterback. And so, has there been a timetable to set on who our starting quarterback is? There are no timetables. That person will emerge. I don't know if it's the 2nd week of spring. I don't know if it's after the conclusion of the orange and white game. I don't know if it's a week prior to Utah State. That will take care of itself. But right now, they just have to worry about making themselves better individually each and every day and being a leader, improving that they can win at Tennessee.
What's the difference you see in terms of the depth you have on your roster now versus this time a year ago?
We're not anywhere where we need to be, again, relative to being an elite program. You look at the elite programs, they're modeled with consistency in terms of their depth. We don't have that luxury right now. It's still an opportunity in the recruiting process to come here and play early and play right away. I thought we took monumental strides at the tight end position. We tried to add depth at the running back position. Still nowhere where we need to be, but the one position right now that's extremely concerning is the offensive line position. There's a recruiting class that there are no recruited offensive linemen in that class, so we're still down our recruiting class. Normally, you want to have about 15 offensive linemen on scholarship. I believe we're 9 or 10, you know, with some position changes and individuals moving. That's not where we need to be, especially with the way we want to run the football and play with a high level of physicality. And that's one of the things we had to guard against in this recruiting class, even though it's a recruiting class in terms of high numbers, is you're not going to fix all your deficiencies in one recruiting class. That's just the way it is. You fix it over time, consistency and continuity, and continuing to build upon that. And I thought we were able to build upon that in this recruiting class, but we still have a long ways to go as a program in terms of depth and the overall competitiveness at every position.
Let's go back to the quarterbacks.
That's the other thing. You look at the Marquez Norths, you know, you look at Josh Dobbs, you look at Cam Sutton, you know, you look at these individuals that played for us as true freshmen. They didn't have the luxury of spring football. They walked in, you know, as young adults coming here in June, and within a little over a month, they're playing in the SEC. And so now to have them in your program for another year, but in terms of the quarterback, they've all added the weight, you know, the muscle mass that they needed to, and with that comes improvement in arm strength. I think a full year in our system of understanding, you know, their reads, their progressions, the standard, the expectation, the leadership qualities that come along, the demands with this position, the demands from in terms of the scrutiny that comes with being a quarterback at the University of Tennessee. So I see them making tremendous strides. I'm excited now to see a football in their hands and see how far they've progressed from, you know, this past season.
You mentioned there not being a timetable. Would you prefer if somebody, you know, kind of staked a claim to that spot in 2 weeks of spring, or is there something to be said for an ongoing competition, you know, through the spring and the summer?
I would like to have somebody step up and emerge and be our quarterback, but I'll also tell you this is, you know, in building the identity of this football team and the quarterback position and every position, I've seen individuals, it's like momentum. You know, it's like the positive energy and momentum we have going on right now. I've seen individuals start that momentum from spring practice, carry it all the way through the summer months of strength and conditioning, and then moving forward into August camp. So again, it's who emerges. I think there's a monumental rule change that's going to change, especially the development of the quarterback position that's in effect this year. And we're able to spend up to 2 hours in the classroom with our positions. Now that counts against their time in terms of working in the weight room. But now for a coach to be able to have up to 2 hours a week to sit in a film room, in a classroom setting, and teach the quarterbacks in every position, that's a game changer. You know, when we talk about functional intelligence and football intelligence, that's a big difference.
Butch, just how big is it that you have that staff continuity, you didn't have to bring anyone new, and especially for a group of guys that, a lot of those guys haven't had that before, they've had to start over again every year.
It's huge. You know, you can't put a value on it because it's so significant. You know, you win with consistency and continuity, consistency and messaging. We use a term in our football family called all aligned. Everyone must be all aligned in everything that they say. If you go speak to our receptionist, if you go speak to our trainer, our equipment personnel, our coaches, our strength staff, we all speak the same language. We're all on the same page. And we have that now. And I've said it, you win with consistency and continuity. You know, you talk about the development of the quarterbacks, but now our secondary can walk in there and they're hearing the same things over and over again from Coach Martinez. You know, in the back end, and our entire defense hearing the same terminology. We are light years ahead of where we're at this time. We still have much needed growth and improvement, but you know, we have taken tremendous strides in moving forward with this football program.
A lot of people.
You can't assume anything. It's the small details. You know, so our older players have done a great job of really mentoring our older players. It may slow down your installation a little bit. And, you know, we're going to have 5 practices, and then we'll break for spring break. And then we'll come back, and those 5 practices, when we come back from spring break, are going to be critical that we're able to retain the information that was processed in practices 1 through 5. I will know a little bit more about the maturation process of this football team when we come back after practice 6 of how we respond after spring break. But I think in moving forward, you can't assume anything. It's the small details, it's the meticulous attention to details that we must have, and we always talk about as a teacher, our messaging must be clear, clean, concise, and direct. And we have to do that, and we have to rely on our older players to nurture and bring our younger players along.
Is it very different than if you had a veteran team? Is it
Very different, much different. You can start a lot faster, your pace will be a lot faster, but I like it. It's invigorating, I know for me and our entire staff, because they're eager, they're willing. They have no bad habits right now. They hang on every word that you say. So that's the exciting thing, but when you have an older veteran team, you know, we only have 13 seniors in our football program. So when you have an older veteran team, you can go a little bit faster, you can push them a little bit that much more, you're not starting over, you know, and we're not starting over, but we have that foundation, but a lot of these individuals, they've only been here for a few months.
What's
Which
the
one do you think
challenge?
is more challenging for newcomers on the offensive line? Is it getting strong enough, or is it learning your scheme?
Good question. It's probably a combination of both, because first of all, you can't play the position if you're not strong enough, both mentally and physically. And then you have to have the football background, the understanding of your schemes, and to take the thinking process out of it. Football is a thinking man's game. You have to think all the time. And you look at being able to do 2 or 3 things at once and play with a high level of physicality. You know, trying to impose your will on your defender, trying to wear your opponent out for 60 minutes. But you have to be strong mentally. And so what we really stress to our players is complete and total understanding of your schemes. When you have that, the game slows down. That's what happens to an older veteran football team. They have that knowledge base of their schemes where they're able to go out there and play faster because the mind doesn't tie the feet up. As a younger player, you're trying to do so many things at once. You're trying to learn what formation you're in. You're trying to learn how to line up. You're trying to learn about your stance, your start, then coverage recognition, then coming off the football, then executing your assignment, finishing the play, and doing it over again. And so that's why experience is always big. The other thing, Heather, that's lost in this is the individuals, and not particularly the offensive line, but the individuals who are learning an offensive or defensive scheme. Now you throw in the special teams game. Now all of a sudden you're adding a whole nother element in terms of fundamentals, techniques, and scheme added to the basis, you know, the foundation you're trying to build offensively and defensively as well.
Coach, as the head coach, is it
You have individuals that most of them have never taken a snap in a college football game before. And so, again, you have a different element, but I also see a sense of hunger. Again, this football team has been extremely eager, so that it's a balancing act. It's different, but they're all kind of exciting, and like I said, I've liked our mentality. This is a team I found very early that I can challenge them, and they respond. They have not backed down from any challenge that we've thrown at them, but as we know, as the calendar winds down, the challenges become that much greater moving forward.
Which, I guess it's kind of a cliche that in between year 1 and year 2 of a program, maybe that's when a program grows the most. Do you agree with that, and why do you, if you do?
Well, I do agree in terms with the consistency and continuity and, you know, the familiarity. Our players understand us, we understand our players. I know more now where we're at as a football program and where we need to go. I know much more now sitting here talking to you right now than I did a year ago at this time. But also every situation is different based on returning individuals, based on where you're at in terms of depth of a football program. So every single situation is different, but there is. And there'll be a marked difference from year 2 to year 3. And that's the thing we have to really focus in on is the process. We're going through a process. Things don't change overnight. We live in an instant gratification society. I understand that. But we're going to build it the right way so it's set in stone for a very, very long period of time. And you're dealing with individuals. You're dealing with 17 to 22-year-old individuals. You're not dealing with robots. They all develop differently. And so that's the exciting thing, is we get to develop a lot of these individuals for the first time. But as we know, there'll also be some growing pains ahead of us as well.
Butch, how much closer are you guys to having, I guess, a offensive you talked about identity? I know you
Right.
have a lot in range in terms of your entire program, but just specifically the offense. How much closer are you to having the identity of what your offense is compared to what Vegas saw last year?
Well, I'd like to think we're growing more of an identity of the way we want to play. And I think that's evident in terms of the way we recruited. You know, with the wide receivers that we were able to bring in to track to come here to Tennessee, the running backs, the tight ends. You know, we want to be much more up-tempo. We want to challenge that 10-second rule. You know, we want to play much faster. We got to get faster. The word fast, improving team speed, we must become faster in everything that we do as a team, in our thought process, in our style of play, both offense, defense, and then special teams as well. But we are becoming much more what we want to be, but we're still not there yet. But we want to be an offense that has multiple personnel groupings, plays a number of different individuals that can run the ball consistently, and has a dynamic pass game that we can push the ball down the field. But really, what makes an offense is the players and their dynamics. You know, the ability to throw the ball up in the air and high point it and go up and get it. You know, players that can maybe make you right when you're wrong. You know, one of those no, yes. You know, to be able to throw a 5-yard hitch out instead of 5 yards and get tackled, it becomes a 35-yard game. We all know we didn't have very many explosive plays last year, and it's hard to play perfect. You can't, especially in this conference. We need playmakers. So that's why I'm excited to see how far we've come. You know, not just with the 14 newcomers, but I think Jason Kroom has had a very good offseason. You know, Marquez North, you know, his body, he looks like a completely different person. He has tremendous confidence right now. He's one of those individuals that you just see, see that look in his eye, and you see he's extremely competitive, but he's focused. You know, he has that look in his eye that he's chasing greatness. He wants to be better every time he steps out on the football field. He hangs on every single word that Coach Z says to him. I see that. I see that in Kurt Magid. I see that in A.J. Johnson. That's rubbing off on Jacob Johnson. You know, that's why, you know, we could, with some of our younger linebackers, you know, that's starting to rub off on them. So I can see, you know, the whole mindset transcending on this football team. So we want big bodies were at a premium for us that could run, that were physical, and you always start them off in the defensive line, first and foremost. And then if they're a step slower, then you move them over to the offensive line.
So many of the guys coming in don't have the strength to play at this level. How does this class shape up in that regard?
They're going to have a great June, in July, and then into August camp, because where we're at in the program is a lot of these young individuals will be playing. We have no choice. If not, you're going to be playing and I'm going to be playing, and it won't be good. So they have no choice. So that's why we've been challenging the individuals that are, you know, in the conclusion of their senior years. We're challenging them right now at home to continue to get in the weight room and have that work ethic, because they're going to play.
Before you get on the practice field, it looks like you have potential to have a much faster special teams, much improved there.
I think that's will be the biggest difference in our football team, and it should be, in terms of our overall team speed. I think that will be first extremely evident in the special teams game from the returner position, but also in our coverage teams. You know, it's really evident when you watch the quality control of our punt team. Anytime Michael Pilardi outkicked the coverage, we gave up a big return. You know, we didn't play in space very well. Same thing with our kickoff team. So I think you'll see a difference in our kick cover teams. Again, a lot of these individuals won't be coming until June. But, you know, you look at Malik Foreman is a young man that needs to step up. You know, Devon Swafford gained some valuable repetitions. These are all individuals that had very good speed. Justin Coleman has really added the weight, but the strength necessary to compete at a very high level. And we're going to ask a lot out of him. So I see a lot of individuals that have really improved individually. And when you improve individually, you improve collectively as a football team.
Coach, with Pilardi gone, your concerns going into spring with the kicking game and the competition there?
Well, it's going to be, you know, everyone talks about the quarterback spot, and rightfully so, but, you know, the kicking game. Michael Pilardi, I've said it, and I'll continue to say it, he was the MVP of Team 117. His consistency and performance, and we have to replace him. And now, you know, it's going to start with George Bullock, you know, Derek Broadus, Matt Darr, but also, you know, we're excited about Aaron Medley being able to come in and add another competitive element. He's going to be thrown into the mix as soon as he gets here as well. But that is an area of concern because you win championships, you win football games by playing great special teams, and that's kind of been the hallmark of our teams, is great play in terms of special teams, and so much is about kick placement and consistency, you know, being able to kick the 30-yard, the 32-yard field goal on a consistent basis. So I'll know a little bit more, again, where we're at those positions as we continue to progress throughout spring, but also in the August camp when Aaron gets here as well.